The chapter that I'm discussing this week is titled, Grief is Not Contagious. Now, why did I choose that title? It was because at the time, in my early grief, it felt like people were running away from me. I would walk into a grocery store and everyone I knew would scatter. Or we would walk into church and I felt like we could clear a pew in 2 seconds flat. And it began me thinking about why we're so reluctant to meet our grief or to meet another's grief. And what I've come to realize over all of these years is that, yes, it's true that we don't like to confront uncomfortable and painful feelings. And we're also acting from fear. One of my greatest fears was that something was going to happen to one of my children. And it did. It was the ultimate fear. And I began to realize that if I was going to come through that and create a meaningful life again, that I was going to have to meet that fear too and confront the fear of my uncomfortable feelings, confront the fear of my grief. And so that became a part of my journey as well, learning how to meet the fear so that it didn't cripple me and keep me stuck in a place that didn't serve me and in a place that didn't honor my daughter. And I think the same is true today. When we first were confronting, or when COVID first confronted us at the beginning of 2020, we didn't know what was going to happen. We were in the unknown. Grief puts us in the unknown. And some kinds of grief puts us smack dab in the middle of the unknown. We don't like to be in the unknown. We like to think that we can control everything in our lives. And what I found out after Leah died is that I just thought I was in control of my life, that I was in control of nothing. But learning how to be in the unknown, how to be comfortable in the unknown, how to not fear the unknown, has also been a part of my journey. And as I began to work with other people and to help them confront their fear of grief, they too learned that there are many more gifts in grief than we ever realized. And it's only when we're willing to go into that grief, to meet the grief, to be with another's grief, even if we don't know what to say, that we're able to come through that place. And it doesn't mean that we'll never be fearful again. It does mean that I now have the tools and the resources to meet the grief right where it's at, right where I'm at, and come through it. And each time I do, I see a different quality of grief, of fear, of the feelings, whatever the feeling is. And I move through it with more grace and more ease. Have you ever considered why you are reluctant to face grief, yours or another's? Today I invite you to ask yourself that question and share your thoughts in the comments if you're called.